Okay guys, so we are back and today we are looking at the Avengers Infinity War Super Bowl spot. So let's break it down right now. So right as the spot starts, we see Tony Stark along with Doctor Strange and Peter Parker. What I assume is them inside of that giant alien sphere thing that was rotating around. You can tell that this scene takes place after another scene that is much later in the trailer, which I'll talk about right up. And of course you see that Peter has his Iron Spider suit. After that, we have a scene of Scarlet Witch as she's using her magic to play around with Vision's gem. Now, of course, we know that he's been more inclined and kind of been using his human form a little bit more, so I don't think this has anything to do with removing the gem out of his forehead or anything like that. And right after that, we actually see Star-Lord, Gamora. We also see the arm of who I assume is Mantis, and Drax as they're walking down some stairs. Now I'm assuming this is from that one deleted scene that we saw before, where they go downstairs and they see that the Collector is being taken on by, of course, Thanos. We then have a scene of Loki. Now I'm assuming this is where Loki is still kneeling down and about to give the Tesseract to whoever is on that ship. From what we understand, it's not Thanos that's on the ship, so this could be anybody like Cull Obsidian, Ebony Maw, we don't really know. And then this scene right here where we see that sphere Stargate thing is very high up in the sky. I'm assuming Peter tried to stop it, that's why he got on it, and he's in a lot of trouble because we know he's afraid of heights. And we see that here he's wearing the suit that he wore during Homecoming. So I'm assuming Tony and everybody sees this, they're gonna fly up, and then he gives the kid the suit, which leads us to the scene from the other trailer where we see him kind of, position himself and do that cool superhero landing moment on the sphere. We then have a scene of Captain America, Vision, and Black Widow all going into a facility. Now I'm going to assume this is all of them once they team up with Vision after, of course, Vision was already, kind of on his own from what we saw from the previous leaked videos and everything. And this is probably them meeting with Tony Stark and everybody being like, look, we have to work together to stop this. Like, we gotta split our forces up and try to make sure they don't take us all out at different times around the planet. Then we got a shot of Thor with his eye patch, so I don't think we have to worry about them removing it all the time, even though it seems like they're going to kind of play around with when he has it and when he doesn't. We of course have seen this before, but Captain America does have a new, I guess, like a gauntlet system. I guess that's the best way to call it. And of course these gauntlets do kind of transform into somewhat of a shield, which we recently saw in some action figures that came out, which I honestly think they look pretty great. And we of course see that he is in Wakanda, so, we know that they're probably made out of vibranium. We see Tony Stark's new suit, which is forming on him in a very unique way that we haven't seen in the MCU so far. This is really interesting, and the suit definitely looks like it's going to be able to take on a bunch of different properties and abilities and kind of like reshape itself for whatever the situation is. We then have a scene of Nebula, which I assume takes place on Xandar, I would assume, because from what we understand, I think Xandar is definitely going to get pretty demolished for Thanos to be able to get that power gem, which of course was left with the Novas back in Guardians 1. Then we got a shot we've seen before, which is the siege on Wakanda by the armies from Thanos. These are the ones we more or less believe are being led by Cull Obsidian, who's going to come with his giant axe hammer thing and start fighting them. And we see Black Widow as she's looking into the distance as she's riding this transport with a bunch of the Wakandan soldiers. Now, not just Wakandan soldiers, we look all the way to the right there, we see that's one of the rival factions in Black Panther. And of course, then we have a shot of Bucky Barnes as he looks like he's getting ready for battle. He's got his gun and everything. We see the gold flowing in his arm, which I've talked about before. Bucky definitely looks ready for war. Then we have a shot of Doctor Strange using his magic to be able to use a spell, and Tony flying in there in his new armor. I am going to assume this is very early on in the movie during the first attack, which I talked about with Spider-Man and everything. This is kind of when they're fighting off those forces before they have to get to the next part. Once again, the running siege in Wakanda. From what we know, this scene probably features Spider-Man in some capacity and possibly even Drax, but nothing's confirmed yet. And the trailer comes to an end with Thanos kind of just smirking because, well, he's the Mad Titan. They're really not going to be much of a match for him. I mean, they could try, but we'll see how that goes for them. Overall, absolutely love this TV spot. Very packed up with stuff. I loved it. What did you guys think?